Hello everyone. For today's video, we will discuss about conic section ellipse. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. Let us start sa Cartesian plane. And we have a given horizontal ellipse. So for this video, we will discuss about the parts known ellipse. Okay? So, start muna tayo sa semi-major axis. So, we will label the semi-major axis as letter A. And for the semi-minor axis, we will label as letter B. Okay? In order to find the total length of the major axis, we need to add another A. Okay? So, A plus A is 2A. Okay? Same with B, we need to add another B. So, in order to obtain the total length of the major axis, so B plus B is, so therefore, the length of the major axis is 2A and the length of the minor axis is 2. Okay? Now, here is the special point and we have another two special point. Okay? Now, papangalan natin itong three special point are the following: F1, C, and F. So, F1 stands for focus 1, C stands for center, F2 stands for focus 2. Okay? Remember, focus is the singular and foci is the plural. Therefore, yung F1 and F2 are the foci, is the foci of the ellipse. Okay? Now, let us discuss about the semi-focal distance. Okay? So, papangalan natin siyang letters. Same with for the length of the major and minor axis, we need to add letter C sa kabila. So, C plus C, that would be the total focal distance. Okay? Now, we have a random point along the ellipse. Okay? Then, let us try to choose sa taas. Okay? Now, itong point na to, try natin ipag-connect siya sa F1 tapos sa F2. So, like this one. Okay? Remember, yung sum of the distances from the random point to F1 plus from the random point to F2 is constant. So, ano yung constant na yun? That is the length of the major axis. Okay? So, as you can see here, meron tayong A and A. A plus A is equal to 2A. And remember, 2A is the length of the major axis. Okay? So, the reason why bakit nilagay ko ang random point sa taas in order to obtain the right triangle. Okay? Using the Pythagorean theorem where A is the new hypotenuse, okay, you will get this one. Okay? So, therefore, this is our formula in order to obtain the semi-focal distance. C squared is equal to A squared minus B squared. Okay? So, this formula is very essential. Kasi bakit? Para makuha po natin yung foci of n. Okay? So, next tayo. So, yung another point na kailangan natin malaman is about the vertices and covertices. Remember, for the vertices, lagi siyang naka-align sa major axis. For the covertices, lagi po siyang naka-align sa minor axis. Okay? So, using this ellipse, okay, yung standard form po ng ellipse is the following. Okay? Now, its standard form has corresponding orientation ng mismo ellipse. Okay? So, for the left part, okay, siya yung naka-vertical ellipse. Okay? While the right part is the horizontal ellipse. So, tandaan nyo po yung mga ganyang formula and its respective orientation. Okay? So, let us summarize, okay? But before we summarize, okay, yung kailangan kong i-take note here is yung H and K. Remember that H and K are the coordinates of the center of an ellipse. Okay? So let us summarize all the details that we have. Okay? So remember, ang semi-major axis is letter A. The semi-minor axis is letter B. Okay? For the semi-focal distance, that is letter C. Okay? Now, here are the points or the special points of the ellipse. The V is the vertices. Okay, yung V1, vertex 1, V2, vertex 2, F1, focus 1, F2, focus 2, C is called the center, CV1 is co-vertices 1, and the CV2 is called vertices. Okay? Now, next is yung length of the major axis is 2A and the length of minor axis is 2. Okay? Then, yung mahalagang formula na Pythagorean-like structure. C squared is equal to A squared minus B squared. Okay? Then, lastly, the eccentricity formula for ellipse is C over A. Remember that the importance of eccentricity is to determine what type of conic section it is. Okay? So here, ang eccentricity po ng ellipse is 0 to 1. Okay? So once na yung eccentricity, for example, is 0.5, that is ellipse. If the eccentricity is something 0.9, that is ellipse. As long as nasa between siya ng 0 and 1. Okay? So, itong following na formula is kailangan yung i-memorize, okay? If ayaw nyo or di nyo gamay ang analyzation. Kasi here, it requires analyze. Okay? So, kailangan marunong kayong tumingin ng graph. Okay? If ever na hindi nyo kayang tumingin ng graph, okay? So, you can guide this one. Okay? Here are the formulas that you need to know para makuha natin yung center, vertices, co-vertices, and its foci. Okay? So, this following formulas is only work for horizontal ellipse. Remember that one. Okay? Next, these formulas are only work for vertical ellipse. So, as you can see, mas nauna si B, then sumunod si A, okay? Then center same, each K. Pero yung vertices ko, vertices foci, doon mag-iiba ang formula. Remember, magkaiba ang formula po ng vertices ko, vertices, and foci sa horizontal and vertical ellipse. Okay? Remember that one, you can take a screenshot or you can take a pause this video in order to take note this formula. Okay, so let us start to solve the first problem. Determine the standard form equation of an ellipse if the length of the major axis is 32 units and the length of the minor axis is 16 units, such that its center is at origin and its foci is at x. So remember, ang formula ng length of the major and minor axis are the following. 2A and 2. Then meron tayong given na length of major axis, that is 32. And the length of the minor axis is 16 units. Okay? Then solve for A and B by dividing both sides by 2. Simplify lang natin, 32 divided by 2 and 16 divided by 2. It will become 16 and 8 respectively. Okay? Now, as you can see, sabi dito, center is at origin. So, therefore, yung center niya is at origin, that is 0, 0. Then, h is equal to 0 and k is equal to 0. Okay? Now, sabi dito pa, its foci at x-axis. Now, gawa tayo ng Cartesian plane. Okay? And we have center at origin. Okay? Sabi, ang foci daw ay nasa x-axis. Remember, ang x-axis is yung vertical, yung horizontal axis. Okay? So, ito siya. Yung dalawang point na yan, siya yung foci ng ellipse. Remember, yung foci na yan, ang essence po ng foci, this determine or this recognize as the required orientation of the ellipse. So for this case, since na ganyan yung yung focus, yung position ng focus and its center. Okay? Orientation po ng mismong ellipse is horizontal. Okay? So, since we already know, the standard form equation for the horizontal ellipse is the following. Okay? Using this formula, we can plug in all the values we have. A is equal to 16, B is equal to 0, H is equal to 0, and K is equal to 0. Then simplifying a little bit, okay, so x minus 0 quantity square is x squared. Same with y minus 0 quantity square. 16 square is 256, and for the h square is 64. Therefore, this would be our final answer. Okay? So, let us proceed to the next problem. And this is the last problem for this video. So, determine the center, vertices, co-vertices, and its foci of the equation 2x squared plus y squared plus 12x plus 2y plus 3 that is equal to 0. Okay? So, before we start our solution, make sure kailangan master nyo na ang completing the square and yung another ideas like yung transposing and factoring, okay? And yun, ganun. Okay, so the first step of the solution is lilipat natin ng constant sa right side. So ang constant na nandito is positive 3. So gagawin natin, lilipat natin yung 3 sa kabila. Okay, then pagsamahin natin yung x and y. Okay? So in order to convert this equation into a standard form equation of the ellipse, okay, we need to factor out muna yung number 2 sa 2x squared plus 12x. Okay? Kasi remember, para tayo makapag-completing the square, kailangan ang leading coefficient is always 1. Okay? So factor muna natin si 2. Then completing the square, so x squared plus 6x, get the 6 divided by 2, that is 3 squared, that is 9. Okay, for the y squared plus 2y, 2 divided by 2, okay, 1 square is positive 1. Okay, so kapag tayo may dinagdag sa kabila, may dinagdag din dapat tayo sa kanan. Okay, so as you can see, may dinagdag tayong 9, so 2 times x squared plus 6x plus 9 plus y squared plus 2y plus 1, siya yung dinagdagan natin. Okay? So, that is equal to negative 3, copy lang din, then plus 2. Remember, may pinactor out tayo kanina na 2 times kung ano yung dinagdag natin, which is 9 plus 1. Since wala naman tayo pinactor out sa bandang 1. Okay? Then, simplify lang natin tong right side. As you can see, 9 times 2 is 18 minus 18. 18 minus 3, that is 15. 15 plus 1, that is 16. Okay? Then, factor natin, since this is already a completed square, so magiging ganyan siya. Okay? So, in order to obtain the standard form of the ellipse, we need to convert 16 into 1. Pero paano? I-divide natin siya by 16. Okay? Then, ang gagawin natin, okay, simplify lang natin siya ng a little bit. 2 divided by 16, that is 1/8. Therefore, this would be our standard form equation of the given general equation. Okay? Now, gagamitin natin the standard form of equation in order to obtain the following. The center, the vertices, co-vertices, and lastly, the foci. Okay? So, remember, hanapin muna natin kung ano yung mas mataas. Si 16 ba o si 8? So, always titingin sa denominator. Si 16. Since si 16 ay mataas, naka-alignment sa letter Y, okay? So, it means vertical ellipse siya. Or in other words, this is the standard form of the equation. Okay? So, i-equate po natin yung a square sa 16 and yung b square sa 8. Then square root lang natin sila both side, you will get this 1. Square root of 16 is 4, and square root of 8 is square root of 8. Okay? But square root of A can be simplified into 2 square root of. Okay? Now, next tayo. Okay? So, for the center, paano natin hahanapin yung center? Okay? So, for the center, yung negative h equal natin sa 3 and yung negative k equal natin sa 1. Okay? Then, multiply both sides by negative, you will get h is equal to negative 3 and k is equal to negative 1. Therefore, the center of the ellipse is negative 3 and negative 1. Okay? Now, how about for the vertices and its foci? Okay? But before we do that, okay, kailangan muna natin alamin kung ano yung orientation ng ellipse. Since meron tayong given na equation na x minus h quantity square over p square plus y minus k quantity square over a square is equal to 1, the orientation of the ellipse is vertical. Okay? Now, for the vertices, start tayo sa vertices. Remember yung binigay ko sa inyo kaninang formula, okay? Pero kung gusto nyo analyzation, okay? So, ganito yung pag-analyze niya. Since vertical siya, and yung vertices is dapat nasa taas and baba. Okay? Kapag nasa taas and baba ang vertices, okay, mag-iiba doon yung mismong y. Magiging constant lang ang x-coordinate. Okay? So, yung x-coordinate, this is yung negative 3 sa center, okay? Siya yung magiging constant, hindi mag-iiba yan. Pero, for the y-coordinate, we need to add a. Kasi remember, for the vertices, lagi naka-align sa a. Okay? So, negative 1 plus 4 and negative 1 minus 4. Parang ganyan siya. Okay? So again, kung hindi nyo kaya ng ganong analyze, okay, pwede natin gamitin yung formula na binigay ko sa inyo kanina. Okay? So this one can be simplified into this one. Okay? So yan yung vertices natin. For the co-vertices naman. So same lang din. Okay? Using formula or analyze. So kung manonotice nyo, since sa co-vertices ang pinag-uusapan, magiging constant naman si y. And yung mag-iiba dyan sa x. So as you can see, negative 3 plus kung ano yung letter b. Ano yung letter b? 2 square root of 2. That's why negative 3 plus 2 square root of 2, comma, negative 1. Then for the co-vertices 2, same, minus naman. Negative 3 minus 2 square root of 2, comma, negative 1. Okay? Now for the foci. But how? Paano natin hahanapin yung foci? Naalala yung binigay ko sa inyo kanina ng Pythagorean-like structure. Okay? So, c square is equal to a square minus b square. Okay? Now, plug in yung a square and b square. Which is yung a square is 16 and b square is 8. 16 minus 8, that is positive 8. Then, square root both sides, makukuha natin c is equal to 2 square root of 2. Okay? So, lagyan natin yung c is equal to 2 square root of 2 dito. Okay? Then, for the foci, using the formula na binigay ko sa inyo kanina, or kung gusto nyo i-analyze, so kung mananotice nyo, ang foci po ay laging naka-align sa major axis. That one. Okay? So, basically, negative 3, comma, negative 1 plus 2 square root of 2. Then yung kabila naman, negative 3, comma, negative 1 minus 2 square root of 2. Okay? So, yan yung magiging foci natin. So, wala naman na kailangan i-simplify pa. So, yan naman yung magiging final answer po natin for the second problem. Okay? So, if you have any clarifications or any suggestions for this video, feel free to comment down below. And thank you for watching.